Hello, hello, test. Alright, I think I'll get started here. I need to get everything set up. Alright, so what the hell was I doing yesterday? Well, what I want to do is I want to get heat maps like we were working with yesterday. Where are they? Where did I put them? Yeah, these like ball hits and all these things we want. We want to turn this into some sort of job that can run on our operations Jenkins box out in AWS. And then it'll email us. I looked at the email stuff. Looks like we can't email attachments with SES easily. We have to like do a whole bunch of raw crap. And we also found that a lot of our telemetry data is just wrong. So that's fun. Good evening, Synchron. I'm gonna get back to hopefully messing around with some of this heat map stuff. So, all this stuff doesn't really have to be perfect, but it would be nice to data drive some of this. I'm trying to think about what exactly I want to do. A plan of action for the UI. Well, that's good to hear. Any revelations, or is UMG going to work? Just need to pay the blood tax and sacrifice a few buckets of KFC to it. So let's see. The first thing, I need to get a good list here. I'm kind of disorganized. So what do I want? I want to compose the generated heat map images into a single larger image. That image needs to go on S3 with a public link, or we could do a signed link. Easier just to do a public link. And then we need to create heat map email report. Let's see, we also need to make a level tick, because how this thing is structured is we've got these tools for telemetry. Got the level tick data report, which actually fills out the data that we need in the database. We also need the heat map generator report job. What else have we got? So we need to create the jobs, that's true. Post the images, do all that stuff. Alright. We want it on a per level basis. Do we want some counts as well? Like count of total hits of each type? We want like a little graph breakdown. Probably a good idea to do that. Let's do a breakdown per level of each type of, yeah. So on a global breakdown of player hits, a per level breakdown of player hits, we want a global breakdown of ball hits and a per level breakdown of ball hits. So we'll have an email that has all of that in there, and that'll just tell us all that basic stuff. So you're going to piggyback off the Dashkin UI code already there, enable disable the JS code when I'm disabling enable the gameplay widget, theoretically XAML aspect WebKit stuff since they share the HUD. So are you saying you're... Well, it sounds like we should probably... Yeah. I mean, do you want to just like jump in voice chat and just kind of explain it to me or something? Because it sounds like something that's really difficult to explain over text, especially Twitch channel with a friggin' delay. But yeah, another widget. I'll have to pull up the C++ stuff. Hey, can you hear me? Yeah, I'm gonna unmute you on stream.
Okay, that works too.
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, so it's right now like what my plan, and it's really kind of weird how it is right now. Like basically I was trying to figure out if I could just like switch. Like I initially wanted just to make my own HUD and then switch HUDs. Just like whenever the game starts, use my HUD instead of the menu HUD. But it doesn't look like that's easy. Doesn't look like that's really supported. So my plan is to go the HUD itself, and then have an extra widget, um, gameplay widget or something that'll contain the UI for the gameplay. And then I'll have to figure out how to route all the cursor and mouse and keyboard events onto it. It doesn't look like it'll be too hard.
Yeah, I mean, all the HUD stuff does right now for like WebKit windows is the create WebKit window function just creates a new web window widget and then throws it as a child of the viewport.
Yeah, and
so it's not doing anything crazy complicated.
Yeah, it's not too complicated. Like the one issue though is like I noticed that like everywhere it's like get my HUD. And I was thinking of like I'm gonna have to switch or change that to like get my current HUD or something like that. So then I'll.
Well, what exactly like What do you mean by everywhere is saying get my HUD?
I'm trying to find it.
Because I would
That might.
expect with all the UMG stuff, we'd just be using like event broadcast to get
Oh, sorry.
get.
I'm thinking. Sorry. I was thinking of when I was trying to replace the HUD. That's a different issue. Um,
Yeah, I figured we'd just turn it off. Like it would just
the
be some.
widget.
Yeah, like we could just remove the widget or something.
I
Like
was
just hide it or something. That should be enough.
I was just worried. Is there anything in the the WebKit that's sort of like assuming that it's always running? Like,
Yeah, it needs to still run because we need the pause menu and everything else. It's not like it's just that we want to hide it. And you don't need to worry about that part. Um, just worry about the in-game UI. Let me deal with the bullshit with WebKit because it's kind of nasty. And really, all I need to do is go deep into the web window and pretty much just tell the draw function to just return
okay,
instead of updating the texture. That's about it. So it for enabling and disabling it, don't worry about trying to do like some nice clean house sort of thing. It needs to keep running, and we're just gonna throw a shim in there to get it to just early out for the render pass only.
okay. And then it looks like on all of these mouse events, it's going directly to the window pointer. So uh, I'll have to like redirect those to also go to my widget when it's activated.
Yeah, let's see. That's in the viewport client. You're looking at all the inputs that get routed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the input manager is snagging everything for the in-game input, and then we have this HUD, which is this is making it so that we can actually get all the information in both places. And the main thing here is the HUD was intercepting. The reason why I put the pass through in there is because of that stupid thing where WebKit was like consuming all the events and then throwing them back to the game if it didn't handle them.
Okay.
So and we probably don't need any inputs going to because the in-game UI is not going to be like user accessible as far as I don't think there'll be anything you can click on or anything else.
Well, there will be the chat.
All right, yeah. So there is chat. That's a good point.
And I think I need to open up the game right now. There was something else. The settings, those will be um, the menu.
Yeah, the pause menu and all that's still going to be
Yeah.
WebKit. Yeah, the only thing will be chat, and it doesn't necessarily have to be driven by UMG there. Like we can always filter stuff in from like the input manager with like a blueprint thing that hooks the keyboard. So it doesn't have to be perfect for that. It just has to render.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. So then, yeah, that's probably all that I can think of.
All right, so UMG widget. I assume you'd make a new class or something like that. That's
Yeah, I was sort of thinking I might like Dashkin UI.cpp and .h. It contains the HUD and the widget. I think I might separate those out into, I guess, 4 files instead of 2, because there's like what I'm thinking is
well, this is just a completely separate thing. So I mean, you know, the UI HUD here, I would just make a like a U-Dashkin UMG HUD, something like that, just totally separate from this.
yeah, I could just throw it into the same file. I started
We'll make a new file, but you don't need to actually touch anything inside of Dashkin UI. I don't think.
You don't?
I mean, it's a child widget of the viewport, so there's no reason that the UMG HUD has to be a child of anything with Dashkin UI.
But Dashkin UI contains the HUD as well. So I have to screw around in the HUD and I have to redirect a bunch of stuff. Like I have to add
You mean the viewport?
Dashkin. No, the HUD. I was trying to figure out where the HUD is actually being chosen to render. But like currently the HUD, the Udashkin UI HUD in Dashkin UI.h, that contains the bridge and the gameplay UI window.
It contains a list of windows. Yeah. So
yeah.
but
So
those are just those things get parent. The parent of the actual web windows is the viewport, the Dashkin viewport client. So like if you're making a new HUD or something, you don't have to do anything with Udashkin UI HUD. The only thing you need to do is parent, have something off of viewport client.
I couldn't figure out a way to switch HUDs. So I think what I'm going to have to do is make a widget and place it inside the HUD and enable disable.
I'm not sure what you mean by HUD. The HUD is like a U object. It's not. You're not placing anything inside of it. Like you mean add it to the class or?
Yeah, add it to the class. Inside the class, add like.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would make a new class that's specifically for the UMG stuff. Has nothing to do with web window layers, and then just have to add a new widget to the viewport, like we do when we create a web window. Just and the Z index on that viewport widget should be able to let you insert it in a lower layer than the WebKit HUD.
I was trying to do that earlier. I need okay. If I do that, then I need to figure out how to get the correct HUD. I think because like just adding it to like the generic like in blueprints, adding widget to the HUD, like the default HUD or whatever it's adding it to. Like there's not even a parameter. It's just like a default HUD. That is not the correct HUD object, and it's rendering on. It'll start rendering on the like the black bars. Like it won't correctly get the aspect ratio. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Yeah, so that's how the WebKit window works. Is it has to actually resize itself to that. And,
yeah, and I want like.
So the web window stuff, all of that constraining to the black bars and everything is done inside of like CSS and other stuff. I'm pretty sure. And I don't know.
Is it?
Well, regardless, I don't see why you want to have those two systems intermingle whatsoever. Like the web HUD and this other and the UMG HUD should be totally separate. So I don't think you need to touch anything with Dashkin UI. You just need to make a new entire thing.
Okay. It's.
And the problem is getting the scaling, right? That's the thing you've been having problems with is getting the.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna give up. I'm gonna give up with UMG. Like if this works, it's gonna be all slate. Yeah. I'll have to see if that works then, because yeah, the size box is so weird. It like in UMG, like
what could I pull up here to kind of get a better understanding? Because obviously, you've done a lot of work here, and I'm not up on it. Is there any examples or anything I can look at that you've made? show off the problem?
I don't know if I have it enabled or not. I've been working in this W game clock proto under Brackensack/UI content.
I need to open the editor. All right.
Yeah,
All right,
content gameplay Brackensack UI. And then also in the blueprint arena level, you're gonna want to enable the testing UI. I'm waiting for you to.
Yeah.
I see that.
I got it open now. So what was the first thing to open?
Game widget game or W game clock proto. It's in content gameplay Brackensack UI.
All right. So you got the game clock prototype. If it's test code, you might put it inside of test content.
Yeah, it's so I kind of already showed you a screenshot of it. Like, just what do I need to show you? Like, just like how it goes onto the black bars. Like, is that what you want to see?
I'm basically asking for a little bit of a crash course, so I know it when you say HUD, when you say UMG. I know we're speaking the same language, and I'm not making assumptions that are ending up confusing you.
Okay, so my understanding is that UMG is the editor, like the editor itself for making the widgets. Like what you're looking at right now, that's UMG, and then it creates slate widgets, and that's the actual like generated widget is the slate thing.
Okay, so Unreal Motion Graphics UI Designer UMG. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. So UMG is this whole thing. Sorry, I was using UMG as like slate.
Yeah, that confused me too.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm probably using the wrong word here.
And then the HUD is an object, and it's actually confusing here in your in like the Dashkin UI .h where is it?
Just because I called it HUD.
Yeah. So there's actually like a HUD object. Like there's like an object type, and in the like you can like there's the viewport object, and I think that's like we both kind of understand the viewport object. My understanding is you can add a HUD object to the viewport, and that sets it up to actually start rendering the HUD. And it's kind of confusing here because there's the Dashkin UI HUD, and it's actually
not
a child.
Yeah.
It's a child of just UObject. From my understanding, there's actually like a HUD that you can like. Where is it? A HUD is the actual thing that I started. Like when I started making some, like just today, I started making my own HUD.
This is just an actor. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's got its own crap.
Yeah. So that's when I say HUD. That's I guess that is kind of confusing because there's a Dashkin HUD and now like an actual dash or like an a HUD object.
Yeah, that's just an actor that contains a canvas, which we probably don't want to use because, well, I mean, actually it might work, but it's going to be level specific, so it'll get torn down whenever you travel between levels.
Well, I figure
what we'd canvas, yeah. So
I figured what we'd want was like the menu, which is persistent for like the entire lifetime of the game.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we'd have the gameplay UI menu, or I'm not gonna call it menu. The gameplay widget UI. That'll be per.
Yeah, Slate UI probably is the right term, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Um, the Slate UI. Actually, I think the web window is actually part of Slate too. It's
Yes.
some.
Yes.
But anyway, the Slate UI for the gameplay, we'd probably end up having 3 of those, one for each type of game, and then when the game is loaded, we'd load that specific UI. When that game is finished, we'd tear it down.
Okay. So you're thinking using the AHUD stuff and then attaching child objects to that and doing that manually, or are we using UMG to edit those things?
That's sort of I don't I'm getting really tired of UMG. I think I want to use Slate. Like I really wanted to use UMG, but like unless my tests with Slate, because I'm not technically fully done. Like I haven't actually built anything with Slate. I was just starting to like build some stuff like today, Slate specific. That's my train of thought.
Yeah, so we're probably not going to use the visual editor. You're thinking just do everything in code like
Yeah,
we do with
yeah,
the web window.
yeah. It's just like it's buggy, and like maybe I'm just using it wrong. But like I try to I try to make a size widget, and then I set the correct I set the bounds of the size widget to 1080 by 1920, like a normal or whatever backwards height over width, like a normal screen size sort of thing. And the default canvas itself, that's the same size. You'd think that they would overlap, but they don't. For some reason, the size box is twice the size, 4 times the area of the like the root canvas. And so when I'm trying to like change like the size, like the when I'm trying to like put stuff onto it, it breaks because it's doing some weird scaling thing and it's like off center and stuff. It doesn't seem to work.
Okay,
The
so
reason
the,
that
the UI is all sorts of fucked up, and
yeah,
it's
and
breaking when you just drag some around or whatever. I guess.
yeah, and this is
Right.
crucial
Yeah, that's
because
bullshit. That sucks. I don't want to use that.
but it's like crucial because like this size box is the thing that is supposed to be the holy trinity of trying to get this aspect ratio to work. Like that's the thing that's like basically my understanding, and I can't even verify this until I do this in code. Is I'm supposed to make a size or a scale box, attach that to the root, and then I put a size box in attached to the scale box, and that gives me the nice scaling aspect ratio that we get inside the game. But I just can't do that because it doesn't even work. Like it breaks, and it's like in game I see it scaling incorrectly, and in the editor I see it scaling incorrectly, or not even scaling. The size is wrong.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm totally fine with doing it all in code. Like that's usually how I like to do these things anyway. If we start running into problems, be like, it's right in front of you. The editor's not hiding a bunch of magical crap that you need
Yeah.
to do. All right, so sounds like good on Slate, bad on UMG. So the idea would be Adam's not going to be able to change that UI other than maybe touching up textures.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, that's pretty much what he's doing in CSS. Like, I have to build the whole thing, and then he can kind of recolor it.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah. I was just so like with what my plan was, and it's kind of falling through the cracks or something,
Falling apart.
falling apart. Is like I just wanted to do like basically to switch between like two widgets, but that's not the case because the HUD that's already there is not actually a HUD, and so it's not constructed the same way.
Yeah, it's global and all that crap.
Yeah, and I yeah, I don't know.
You're at an impasse.
Well, it's just been frustrating from the beginning, honestly. But
Welcome to game development. This sucks. It's awful. Everything is broken. Everything is impossible. So that is where I live and all that. So all right. So which part's the problem? Is it making a widget that just exists? Like if we threw like a clock at the top of the screen that didn't scale at all?
that's easy.
Okay. Can we just okay, well I mean that's a start, right? Like we don't need the end game UI to scale that much. In fact, we probably don't want it to scale much. So when you get like a big monitor, it's not like, the clock gets and fills the whole fucking top of the screen.
Well, like the way it works right now is it doesn't. Yeah, you're like it doesn't scale that much. Um, but it there's still like if I don't like basically UMG has these weird anchor points, and I think they're very. I think Slate has them too. I think they're both the same.
Yeah, it's just a editor on top of Slate, so
Yeah, if I like, even if I don't like, I'll have two issues. I think I'll just still have the bar issue. Like, still have black bars on the top and bottom, and or the left and right. Um,
well, nobody's playing on a screen that looks like, this. I mean, pretty much, I don't think anybody even makes monitors like that. The only people who even have monitors set up like that would be probably coders. Um,
this
so
is
they
true.
can read big ass things. But widescreen, yes, we would want that. So kind of how the UI works right now is we pretty much made it so it's a square in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you see like when I go real skinny, this thing is in basically a box. And when I go all the way out, you see that there's like more extra room on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
So we pretty much made the whole damn thing inside of a box. So really, that's all we need is that scale box or whatever the hell it's going to be. Or these widgets can, dynamically position themselves, just using math and runtime. That's fine. To, whenever the screen size changes, they just, pop into the right spots. That's cool.
But on the in-game UI is not the same. It's not really a box. They're at the objects are at the edge. Like um the three dudes on top left and top right. Those are
Yep.
right at the edge.
Yeah, well, we can get rid of some of that, or bring them in, or do whatever if we have to. Yeah, it's easy to lock to the left and the right with how a lot of this works. Anyway, all right. So the main issue is getting the bounds. That's not working.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll yeah, and I guess now I'm gonna have to like figure out a way to like, or actually, you said that you were going to do the switching of turning on and off the game UI and the menu UI.
Yeah, the only thing we'd be doing is when it's in game like this, um, with no pause menu. Basically, we're just going to have the render thread for the web browser widget's just going to return nothing. It's just not going to draw. It's just going to have a blank texture. So it's still there. It gets rendered. It's just it's not invalidated and all that. When you hit enter, it'll just start rendering normally again.
Okay.
So basically, for your work, you would make all this in-game stuff, work the same way as it does in here. And then we would just disable the web stuff
Okay.
after that. So
All right. I'll see if I can just get the functionality in. I'll try to worry about scaling a little less.
well, if you can't get the scaling right, like then you have to get scaling right before you do anything. Otherwise, you'll make a nice looking widget or something, and then it'll just break. So it's not really worth a hell of a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, it sounds like if you're having a bunch of trouble with this, what should happen is, I should, for my next sprint here, come in and work with you, or see what I can do to solve that big problem.
I feel like you're gonna come in and it'll be like 10 minutes in, and you're like, "Oh, I fixed it."
I mean, that would be a good thing, right? Like, I don't know. Engineers shouldn't have an ego. It doesn't matter. You fix one of my boneheaded errors, I'll be fucking grateful. I'm beyond giving a damn about any of that.
It's not an ego thing; it's a usefulness thing.
It works. It's all the same. Yeah. So, it sounds like you've reached a good, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I would like help point. Um, so maybe another set of eyes with a different brain behind it will have a different perspective. Maybe find what the fuck we need.
Okay.
And then at least I'll know, the terms to talk to you with, so I'm not just being confusing and annoying and causing frustration where you're like, well, I already fucking tried that. You make it sound so easy. It's just like, well, make it scale right. I don't understand. Like, it's not helpful for anybody. All right, so I'll chalk it up to like this next week. Sprint starts for me on Monday and all that, so
Okay.
I'll add it to my sprint. Probably the first thing I'll do then before moving on to dedicated server stuff and level transition stuff is I'll work on getting UI to a point where we're both comfortable with getting it in there, because we want it in for not this next update at the end of the month, but the update after that.
Yeah.
So, also, just keep in mind that like we've got plenty of time to do this, so it's not like shit has to be done today. All right, it's cool. I'll do that, and any place for me to get started with that I can write down,
Um.
or should I just start wherever and figure crap out?
Well, I kind of want to keep going on it too. Like, if I can get it, like if I can fix the problem before Monday, that'd be cool.
I
Um.
I don't care.
Well, like, so it'd be nice to know. How we're gonna like. This is sort of like I just don't know how it's gonna work. Like how the switching is gonna happen. Like how we're gonna um get like I don't know how we're gonna turn off or disable the current custom HUD that's currently there and enable
The web HUD?
the web HUD and enable.
Oh yeah, that should be as simple as
It should be simple, but I was just like I can't like there's no way to like in my like from what I can see like set the HUD. Like once you have it set you can't really unset it.
well, like we're probably not even using HUD, right? We're just using widgets for Slate. that are slapped on the viewport. So it's like, who cares about having a HUD object? You know,
Or okay, so then if it is just going to be like if I just build a widget, how
yeah,
it's going
like
to
the HUD is just a widget, and obviously from their documentation, it's a bare class heads up display. It has a canvas and a debug canvas. All they did was just slap two canvases in there as a hint on how to get started. So like,
okay, and then
yeah,
so
it's just utility shit. So like, if you don't need it, you don't need it. Like, we're not using like for the game mode, we're using like the bare bones game mode because the other one has like tons of shit you don't need. Like, it's got like built-in score counting crap. It's like, what the fuck? The game doesn't have a concept of that, so you don't need that. So I think we should just deal with it on a widget level.
okay, and then so I think size boxes would be the place to start then. If I can't fix it,
Okay, so the main problem is make a widget that is within the box, and like the clock picture, and get it to scale properly with the screen. If we can do that, we just apply that same pattern to everything, and we'll be good to go.
yeah.
As for this CEF web browser window, basically it like has this texture on it that it renders every frame or whatever the hell, and all we have to do basically is hack a bool down into its guts that I think just tells the updatable texture to yeah, there's like this on paint right here with this needs redraw. All we have to do is like just tell this needs redraw, just ignore it and don't do that, and then this guy will run all the JavaScript logic and do everything properly. And
Okay.
yeah, it's real simple. So we're just customizing the widget. So the UI widget for the game in-game UI and this, and then the web windows will be just children of the same parent, not touching each other's guts.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to avoid like because it looked like there was a lot of assumptions. The Dashkin UI, so I didn't want those assumptions, or like by refactoring, I wanted to avoid that.
Yeah. There's nothing in here that I think like this is all like this UI class is just a wrap around getting this like a stack of web windows. So if anything in your brain, just Dashkin UI HUD should be Dashkin Web UI HUD.
Oh, I was also thinking, I kind of wanted to rename it to Dashkin Menu HUD or something, or Menu UI or something, because that'll be what it's for. It won't be for the whole game anymore, or like it won't be for the whole executable anymore. It's a very, very small thing, not a big deal.
Yeah, refactoring stuff in C++ is a giant pain in the ass, so I usually just deal with stupid names most of the time. Because then you get into those big things where like you change something and then you're like, well, I have to go fix all the names all over again. And then it's like you spend all your time just fucking renaming variables.
Not that hard, and you can just you just click on it and you find or rename, and then
Oh no. Oh god. I guess it's also like working on larger projects. If you ever rename anything, like you have to lock everything, and then everybody who's working has to merge.
oh god, yeah,
So,
okay, never mind.
like
Yeah, no,
in
let's
C++
not do it.
land, my training just always goes to don't worry about the name.
There have been I have been in arguments over names because someone had a weirdo name, like what I don't know what it was, but they had a weirdo name, and I thought, oh, this meant something, and had a huge argument. And then it turned out it meant something else.
Yeah, that's why I
But no,
throw.
I totally agree with you. I don't want to lock every fuck that.
That's why I have these stupid ass function headers. It's like, what does the begin destroy function do? It's called when we begin destroying. Like, why would that ever be useful? Well, maybe it doesn't actually begin destroy. Maybe begin destroy means something else. And you just, that kind of destruction. Anyway. right, cool. So I'll add like screwing around that stuff to my sprint. The extent of my task will probably just getting to that proof of concept, and so I can better talk to you with good terms for Slate.
Okay.
And if we get to that point, we'll and then probably just talk with you and get a good kind of like, okay, how we'll make things like clocks and widgets like that. Gonna make a widget blueprint you know in the editor, and then we slap that as a child onto something else, and we're good to go.
Yeah, like I was thinking of doing maybe potentially like a hybrid thing, like make a maybe like a compound widget, or I should be careful with that name because there's actually a compound widget thing.
Yeah,
But like
probably like some base class auto widget or some bullshit that deals with whatever stupid ass scaling we have to deal with.
yeah, that's what I wanted basically. Like I wanted just to like Dashkin size box
Yeah.
proper, like something along those lines, and even merge that with fucking scale box, and not even have to have two, because
Oh, I wouldn't merge anything into theirs. Mainly if we take we take an updated Unreal drop, that's going to be more merge conflicts.
well, no, not like go and fuck around with their code, but like
All right, cool. Then we're on the same page. All right, cool. I'll write it down. Sounds like progress. Also sounds.
does not sound like progress to me. I feel like I've done nothing so far.
Well, continue to do nothing successfully. No, just like that's what I call painting a picture with blood. You don't have to understand a problem to solve it. You just spend enough time and it'll get solved.
that that goes against everything that I want.
I mean, there's two ways to win a battle, right? Like either you come up with a brilliant strategy, you have a complicated plan, or you just throw men into the trenches and just say, "Well, boys, over the top." And if you got enough people, you'll win. Anyway, that's like for Amazon, there's a monitoring thing where we needed to get CloudWatch monitors for a whole bunch of. It wasn't CloudWatch monitors, but like the internal Amazon monitors
Mm-hmm.
for website shit. And so it took literally like 10 to 15 minutes of clicking through your this really slow, crappy website monitoring uh, web tool to make a single alarm on a single host.
Wow.
So how'd they solve it? They just outsourced it to a firm in India, and the people just clicked through the web UI, a couple thousand times to make all the alarms. And I was just like, are you fucking serious? like, like we know the hosts, we know the programs, we know all the calls. It's all defined in data. Like literally, you can have one person sit down and like make a script that does this. Like, no, we can pay 10 people in India for 2 weeks to do this. Like, we don't need to be smart. We just need to have it work. It's just like, well, what if we change? What if we bring up a new service? Oh, well, we'll just contract the guys in India again.
Oh my god.
So that's how that works.
Okay.
All right, so I'll add that in there and start.
Okay. I don't feel that bad, I guess.
Yeah, and like I wish the Slate stuff was. I mean, there's a reason like we're not using Slate off the top. That's because pretty much I went through the same process you're going through, where it's just like a lot of like what the fucks. And as far as I understand, Slate's kind of built backwards for how things are styled, so it's not even like you might think it's like CSS, but then
Well, I don't even know CSS, so it's like this is like me thinking it works like some rumor of how CSS works.
Yeah, I think it's like the children. You would think like, okay, the parent enforces the rules for the children. Like the parent box can scale this way, and I don't know. There were some Stack Overflow things where it was like, no, you're thinking about it wrong. Just you have to layer these things on top of each other. Then it does what you want. And then people below are just like, I have no fucking idea what you just said. So anyway,
Yeah,
I'll
I
get
don't
back
know.
to heat maps here, unless there's
Yeah,
something else.
no, that's it. Just me complaining, I guess.
Hey, complaining is
I guess
important fun.
that's
Important
what
fun.
this is.
Nah, that's how Adam and I have like a 9-hour meeting. It's just like a whole bunch of bitching about stuff. All
Okay.
right, well,
Well,
good
yeah.
luck, and I'll talk to you probably Monday or later or whatever.
Okay. I'll still be on chat too.
Cool. All right, bye.
Yeah.
All right, sorry about all that. Meetings need to happen. So I need to get back into what the hell I was doing. So I was working on heat maps. I think I was writing down some tasks that I need to work on. All good. Working. Yeah, that's what my stream is about. Like it's just me working on stuff. So if anybody came here for a performance, you should leave right now. The only thing that you're gonna get out of this stream is a bunch of like sarcasm with the wrong emphasis when I say sarcasm. Like as if it's a chasm of SAR, whatever SAR is. And then we got the person I was talking to is our kind of college helper dude, Scott. He is learning to be a super amazing engineer. Or he already is one, or whatever. We're not sure yet. And I'm sure if I help at all, it'll be in destroying any chance he has of a decent life. But he's helping us out and getting started. And getting started on a project sucks. Like because you want to feel useful, but like especially we've got this whole year of like work and tons of other shit, and it's just a mountain of whatever. And it's not like we're Unreal experts either. So like everything we've written is like wrong. So so he's probably like reading documentation and looking at like why I did and just being like, what the fuck? Like is Kirk just an idiot or is the documentation wrong or I'm confused. Be like, yeah, it's probably a combination, and it's probably that I'm wrong more than I'm right. But when you build a system completely out of the wrong things, they all work together because now you've changed reality instead of. It's like if you do everything in imperial units, it's fine. You're still going to land on the moon. It doesn't matter if you're using furlongs and foot pounds as opposed to newtons, as long as you don't mix the two and then smash into the surface of Mars. Okay, so we got all these heat maps. They're being generated. We need to compose the pictures. All right, and then I was thinking about the global breakdown of player hits and also the jobs. Composing the heat maps, putting them on S3, and then if we get to it, I'll work on the QR code generator for making cards with codes on them. And the question is, should I try to make this a generic system that works with all this crap, or should I just say to hell with it and do what I want? All right. I think I can at least data drive some of this stuff. So why don't we save in our operations, data, reporting. This will be, yeah, all right, reporting. No, let's just put game data, and then let's make like brackensack.json. All right, so we're gonna we want levels. So this will be an array of stuff. We'll want a level name. So GL sunny day. Yeah, what's that video on YouTube? Down here, the walls are salt, the floor is salt, everything is salt, everything's covered in salt for a large extent. The air is made of salt. Yeah. All right, so we want the extents, and we're gonna have xmin, xmax, ymin. I hate numbers. It's stupid. Alright, so those are the extents. And then we might want to also have some like heat map data. So why don't we just do heat maps? Yeah, why don't we do it like this? Let's actually data drive this crap instead of doing what we have been doing, which is hard coding the hell out of absolutely everything. So we have different heat maps. These heat maps should have a name. So let's call this ball hit. And then we want the events that we actually grab. So we want the ball touch. So we're grabbing positions out of this thing. So we want position events. Well, we've already made our report table here, is the thing. This is already specific. So I don't need to go into incredible detail. So we've got like X pause, Y pause, and all that sort of stuff. So we want position event. And this is going to be an array of things. So it'll be like ball touch is an event. We'll grab the position off of that. And I'm thinking about the different channels. So like maybe we should have a team-based channel, like switch on this. So team-based would be like true. And then we would want like a max cap value, like 200 or some crap, and we'd also want like a heat map height, so it'd be like height, so 300. We'd have a bleed radius of 0.2 and a blur radius of 10. Sure.